You were sleeping.
You're seated up front. We're trying not to block the aisle in case someone needs to get out, and we can't block the emergency exit. So just trying to stay up to fire code here. Sure. Do you mind sitting in the front, Mr. Wilson? Oh, on your. Okay. Well, I just pull these over here. Together.
You got the premium seats. You want float flowers on the place? You got to throw a bunch of flowers on the
Yes. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Good morning. Joy, are we live?
We are being recorded, yes.
We are being recorded, okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Big crowd today. Word must have gotten out that we're going to talk about something pretty important today. So appreciate you all coming out. If there's any new members here today, I saw some new faces. My name is Michael Friedel. I'm the executive director here at Tide Point, and this is our monthly town hall meeting, which we do the fourth Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock in the morning. So for the folks that are joining from home, welcome. Got a really packed agenda today. I'm going to share some updates, particularly around the hurricane evacuation plan. And if for anybody that was here last month, you may recall that I shared that we were taking a look at a per diem reimbursement plan for independent living members that self-evacuate. So I'm going to share an update on that, then we'll take a look at some dining updates. We got some great information to share about dining, and then we're gonna talk about our sales team here at Tide Point. So we've got some great information to share about them as well. So we're gonna jump right in. So the first couple slides here really are just a review of what I shared last month. For folks that have been here for quite a while, it might be repetitious for you, but there's 4 or 5 slides just talking about hurricane preparedness and some key points about hurricane preparedness. So June 1st, we're right around the corner, actually starts hurricane season. And that lasts through the end of October. Keep our fingers crossed, hope for the best, but we always want to be prepared. So, some lessons learned from previous hurricanes, not only here, but some of our other communities are, we have to have a plan. So we have to have a plan as a community and as individual residents here at Tide Point. We strongly encourage you to have a plan as well. Second key lesson that we learned is we have to leave on time. So as these storms are rolling in and the governor's thinking about evacuation, if sort of wait till the day he calls the evacuation, we're going to be tied up in traffic. So fortunately for us here at Tide Point, we have a care center, and care centers, skilled nursing, assisted living, hospitals are notified 24 hours in advance of the governor's formal evacuation notice. So that actually gives us one day ahead of everyone else getting the information. So that's good for us. So as we take a look at 2025 and the season that is upon us, it's forecasted to be slightly above average, and I'll give you some of those numbers in just a minute. There's the potential for more named storms and hurricanes compared to the average, and they are expecting up to 17 named storms, and 9 forecasted hurricanes, 4 which could be major, which is a category 3 or higher. So here's a comparison that we can look at. The forecast for 2025 is on the top row, previous year 2024 in the middle, and then the 30-year historical average is on the bottom. And you can see it's very similar to last year, but I did want to point out one specific area on this slide here, and this is what they call the ACE, the accumulated cyclone energy, the power of the storm. So if you take a look at the 30-year average, it's 123. If you take a look at last year, some of the most powerful storms on record, almost 162. And if you take a look at what they're forecasting, it's a pretty wide range, but it could even go some of the highest and most powerful hurricanes that we've ever seen. So we hear about this all the time on the news, and we're seeing more frequent storms, more powerful storms, and not only during hurricane season, look at some of the tornadoes that are ripping through the Midwest and Kentucky, and the devastation and the heavy storms that come through, and these straight line winds that are just taking out areas that have never seen anything like it. So more powerful, more intense, more frequent storms. So do we evacuate? Many of you already know this if you've been on the island, but if you're not aware, we evacuate when the governor of South Carolina mandates it. That's when we go. As an example, last year, it was one of the first storms, might have been Hurricane Debbie. They were forecasting 100-year rains, some of the heaviest rains that we've seen in 100 years. Some of the most flooding that we've seen in 100 years. Fortunately, it side-skirted us. It just sort of jogged around us and then came back north of us. But that was a little scary. But at that time, there was no evacuation order, and we sheltered in place. Saw some heavy rain, saw some flooding, but certainly didn't see the amount of rain that they were forecasting. So there was no mandate to evacuate. And even the hurricanes right after that, there wasn't any mandate to evacuate with some of the strongest storms we've seen in the area in a while. So for members, what's really important to know, you all have seen the hurricane packet, and this is just a snippet, high level of information that you should have readily available, prepared in advance and ready to go in the event of evacuation. And that is, who are your emergency contacts? You've all received the evacuation agreement. We're going to talk briefly about that later on in the presentation. But we've only received maybe about 50% of those back. So a lot of those are still in your hand, and maybe you're waiting for some additional information, because I was sharing about the per diem reimbursement. So maybe you're waiting to hear about that. But those agreements are really important because it lets us know who's going where and who's coming with us. And another key facet of that information is your medical information. So some folks might wonder, why do we need that medical information? Well, if you evacuate with us, we definitely would like to have that on hand in case something happens, so the nursing team that's with us will have at least a baseline of what's going on. The other reason, if you're not evacuating with us, it's good to have that because we keep that in our database. It's a healthcare, we call it matrix, but it's a database, secure information. In the event that you have to see the wellness team, they can go in and they can get a snapshot of some of the medicines that you might be on or some of your diagnoses that you're dealing with. So it helps us be able to triage in the event of emergency. But if we're evacuating, it does help us to have that information. It does help to have that information on hand in the event of an emergency situation. So some folks might say, well, I'm evacuating independently. You really don't need it. But in the past, we've seen folks that have designated to evacuate independently that something's happened, and then they come with us. And if we don't have that information, and something happens, then we're sort of running blind trying to help you out. So it's really important just to get that information in. It's high-level, basic information that helps the nursing team in the event of emergency. So last month I talked about some of the reasons that we might be looking at per diem reimbursement, some of the challenges that we're seeing in the marketplace. with evacuations, and anyone that was tuned to the Weather Channel for any amount of time last year as these storms were rolling through Florida might have seen or got a glimpse of some of the challenges that they were facing. Long lines of traffic trying to get out of Florida, lack of hotel rooms, not enough gas, they couldn't get the gas down there quick enough, cars stranded on the side of the road. We would expect that if there's another major hurricane that hits us, we're gonna see something very, very similar. We're gonna experience heavy traffic, potentially experience gas stations without gas, stranded motorists, and a lack of hotel rooms, and in some cases, maybe even staffing. So that was driving some of the thoughts about the reimbursement process. We're seeing larger, more frequent storms, fewer resources to help evacuate or be there during evacuation. I'll share a little bit of context around that. Our Naples community last year had to evacuate, and some of those communities have had to evacuate over the last couple of years. Last year, Naples, when they evacuated, had to go to 3 to 4 different hotels because they could not get rooms, and these hotels are spread apart, and then that actually breaks up their team and splits up their team, and now they're trying to support members in 3 to 4 different hotels, which is very, very difficult. And that's not including the care center evacuation. So they got that whole other component that they're trying to deal with. So as I'm looking for hotel rooms, I'm reaching out to general managers in Augusta. In some cases, I don't even get a response. In the cases where I do get a response, they're like, yeah, we'll do our best to help you. Let us know when you might need hotel rooms. We can't commit to anything. And even when I send a memorandum of understanding, which is known as an MOU, which is not a legal agreement, it's just basically saying, hey, if an emergency situation comes up, we need to evacuate. Can you help us with rooms? And can we form a partnership and collaborate to see what we can do? That's really all that is. They're even hesitant to sign that because they feel like they're getting boxed into an agreement and they can't commit on it. So we are definitely seeing challenges in the lodging world, trying to at least get some type of commitment that, yeah, we'll keep you in mind, or, you know, top priority when you call us, whatever. We're not seeing any of that. So it's a challenge. Sure. It's a challenge. And Florida was seeing that, I'm sorry, Naples was seeing that in Florida last year, which has really caused some additional discussions with the Florida communities, our communities, and our risk management team as to how do we approach this, because the environment is changing, the landscape is changing. So with that in mind, V has come up with a change in approach and policy for independent living evacuations. So I'll just ask you to hang with me as I go through some of this information, because for members that have been here for a while, it's a stark change in approach than we've seen in the past. So in the past, we've literally taken the V communities and tried to relocate them to a hotel and set them up within a hotel, and we would still have activities and the bars and the food, and you know, wellness was there, our dining team was there. So we're not feeling that we're going to be able to do that anymore in this current environment. So that is really changing how the approach in terms of what we need to do with evacuations. So V's approach now is that management will no longer directly coordinate or facilitate evacuation planning for independent living residents. So, not to mean that we're not going to support you, it's not to mean that we're not going to give you the information, doesn't mean that we're not going to be here for independent living members that do need support, but we're really encouraging members that can independently evacuate on their own and safely do so, to do that. And so hang with me as I go through this a little bit and share some of the details around it. So you're going to receive a letter later today from Stephen Fowler, and which every year you get a what we call a hurricane letter from our Vice President of Operations. In the past it was Daryl Baltimore. This year it's going to be Stephen Fowler. There's a key section in Stephen's letter that reads very similar to this bullet point here. There's some context in the beginning, some context at the end, but at the core of the message, this is the message. So what we're asking is that independent living residents who are capable of self-evacuating make plans in advance to do so, whether by staying with family, friends, or at a hotel of your choice. So it's much easier for a small group to get hotel rooms than it is a large group to get a hotel room. You might have family, you know, in Atlanta or Augusta or Columbia, or the opposite direction where the hurricane is heading. That would be an option for you. So these are all great options. I have family in Jacksonville. If we get one coming up this way, my wife's going to Jacksonville. If they get one down there, they're coming up this way. So we have these type of arrangements within families just to make sure everybody's taken care of. Sorry. So as we navigate through this change, I just want to make some really key points here. So V and our community here is committed to your safety and also committed to helping get you prepared as well as the greater community prepared. We recognize that not all independent living residents might be able to self-evacuate. Some may need assistance. We recognize that. We want to focus some of our energy and time on empowering the members with tools and resources for independent planning. And we want to ensure that you have ongoing support and guidance, and that will remain available to you as we navigate through this change in policy. So we don't want anybody to feel like they're stranded, or, you know, so we have an umbrella of support and help here. Our cabinet, our leadership team, and I would imagine that you have many members amongst you that will be able to support as well. So the second component of this is that, well, if I evacuate, is there any support I get financially? So there is a per diem reimbursement program that we're going to be putting in place, and I'm going to introduce you to that in just a minute. And I just wanted to have a little bit of a caveat for folks in the care centers. Some of you may have a spouse in the care center or a friend in the care center. The care center will still evacuate as part of the community. Independent living, skilled nursing and assisted living will still be under our guidance, and we will fully evacuate them. So the reimbursement program looks like this. If there's a mandatory evacuation and you evacuate independently and you're an individual, you will be reimbursed $450 a day. And if you're a couple and you evacuate independently, you will be reimbursed $600 a day. And this will be in the letter that comes out today. If you need that information, it'll be in those documents. Reimbursements will cover, among other things, lodging, food expenses, mileage. So say you decide to stay at your daughter's house or a friend's house, and you evacuate independently, and you're an individual, you still get $450. If you stay at a hotel, you get $450 used towards the hotel and food. So it's your bucket of money to use however you choose to use it. But that is the daily maximum that you would be reimbursed. And sort of do a little looking at the, I mean, if you have a hotel room that pushes up around $300 a day, I think you'll still be okay for the daily maximum for an individual. So I think financially, this would really help support any evacuation and help you to take care of any expenses that you might occur during an evacuation. So if you do use the per diem evacuation, then the payments will start on the day of the governor's evacuation notice, and it would cease when the community leadership deems it safe to return. So in some cases, local authorities might say, well, it's okay to go back to the island, but we really want to make sure this community is safe for you to come back. So it might be a day or two after that, or some time after that, depending on how the storm hits and the damage to the community. Or it might be, you know, we can get 80% in, but there's going to be some challenges with the other 20%. So we need to assess that. So $450 a day for an individual, $600 a day for a couple. I mentioned this earlier, but we are committed to ensuring they have ongoing access to planning resources. The community staff is going to be available for guidance or a sounding board, or help me out, help me better understand what this might look like for me. And the memo that you're going to get today, there's going to be 2 days that are identified next week for you to be able to come into the ballroom, and we'll sit down and chat and talk about it. We'll have some resources in here to help you with that. Beyond that, I'm available, our wellness team's available to help navigate through that if you have additional questions. I would imagine, and maybe we need additional sessions, I don't know, after next week. So we'll play it by ear. But I just want you to feel comfortable that we're going to be there for you if you have questions, need answers, or planning resources. So the next steps in regards to this, continue discussions with residents to finalize the individual evacuation plans. Later today, you're going to get 2 memos in your mailbox plus another evacuation form indicating whether you're going to evacuate with us or individually, because some folks have already sent it in and you might want to make some changes.
Yeah.
So the cover letter on that packet is going to be from me, and then underneath is going to be Stephen Fowler's letter, the hurricane letter, and then there's going to be that form in case you need to make changes to your evacuation, how you're evacuating. So you're going to get that later today. And I would just share a reminder that if you haven't turned in your forms, please get them into us, because we need to then take this information, get it into our database, and ensure that we have folks lined up who are evacuating, who are independently, who are evacuating with us, so we can start making plans as a community.
Sure.
In terms of what we're going to be doing. So that's a lot of information. I'm just going to pause there. Normally I'll hold questions to the end, but I'm going to pause there just for a minute, and certainly I won't take questions at the end, but just would like to hear if there's any feedback or questions right now. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, so on this per diem, you said that it's.
Let us get you the microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so you said that the per diem starts on the day that the governor mandates an evacuation. But you say that the governor will give Tide Point a 24-hour advance warning. So if residents heed that 24-hour advance warning, does the per diem start on that day?
I would imagine we would be able to do that. I'll just double check with Stephen Fowler. I would imagine, because that's officially our evacuation. So I think we would do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Behind you.
Oh, I got all these things.
Michael, maybe I just missed this, but are you going to have buses to take people or not? For people who don't have cars? I'm sort of confused about that.
So if you evacuate with us, we have buses. Okay. Yeah, we're under contract with a bus company. 3 buses, 3 of the large motor coaches for independent living, 1 for the care center. Then the care center also uses the handicap buses. We do have them. Yeah.
Where are the buses going?
So, one quick question. The charge used the word maximum for these amounts of per diem, and then it mentioned something about receipts or food and lodging. My question is the maximum the amount paid, or it depends on some kind of receipts?
No receipts are needed. It's a per diem. Yeah. Now, if you evacuate with us, it's different. The scenario is different if you evacuate with us, because food is still on your own. If you evacuate with us, then you would need to hold your receipts.
Where is the scheduled hotel that you have prearranged for people who are going on the bus?
So we are looking in the Augusta area. The Augusta area. So there's no, I can't commit to any specific hotel because there's no, they won't hold a room block for us.
Don't even know what month.
Yeah, plus you don't know what month, yeah, we don't know when that's, if it's gonna happen at all. So hotels are very hesitant to block 100 rooms because they don't know what day or what time, yeah. But we're looking in the Augusta area.
Michael, as I remember from the packet, if you go independently in your own vehicle, you get reimbursed for the expenses of driving also. Is that in addition to the per diem that you're talking about? Or
No.
That is included in the per diem. The mileage would be included. Do we have some questions up front?
Thank you. Several questions, please. You just indicated, thank you, that you have buses going to take us who are evacuating. Other than the Augusta area, where are they going? You don't know.
No.
Other than the Augusta
Yeah,
area?
you said you're looking at the Augusta area.
Yes.
But you don't know where they're going yet because of the hotel situation.
That's right.
Right. And say, so say the storm, there was, the big storm that went up through the valley went through that area, so we might have to take a whole different detour and go into a whole different area.
Michael, at the beginning of your speech, a completely different question. You mentioned that the intensity of storms is increasing year by year. My question is do we have any idea what our buildings, clubhouse and single standing cottages, what kind of intensity they will take, because we're coming back here, you know. My question is, do we have any kind of intensity factor, number 3 storm or 4 storm?
I think well, I think we have a little history with Matthew, and I think Matthew might have been a 3. So, 3.
It was a 1.
It was a 1.
So we lucked out because it started us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd have to look and see what our insurance companies are rating the houses at. It might be in some of the insurance information that I have. And I can try to share that. But Matthew was a 1. Quite a bit of damage to the community, a lot of trees down, damaged homes, and that was a 1.
Michael, excuse me, we replaced 17 roofs.
17 roofs got replaced. Thank you. So yeah, even 1s and 2s can do a lot of damage, so.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so if you have some additional questions, we'll have questions at the end as well, as you sit and think about it a little bit. So let me just move on to the next section. We're going to talk about dining, some of the dining updates. So Memorial Day, we got a buffet coming up, holiday buffet. So that is going to be well, Monday of this month. And just a reminder, since it is a special buffet, if you'd like reservations, you have to call for them. Is that correct, Zoran? Is that a thumbs up on that? They should be calling in their reservations for Memorial Day? Yes.
All the major holidays will be blacked out for online reservations due to modified seating and arrangements, different timings.
Can't hear that, Michael.
So Zoran is, I'm going to repeat it for you. Zoran is saying that for the holiday buffets, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day, Mother's Day, there's larger buffets. On the app, the ability to make a reservation is blacked out. You're not able to do it because of the modifications that we made. So if you want a reservation for those days, you need to call that in.
For Memorial Day.
Or come down. Yes. For Memorial Day, yes. that Father's Day, Zoran? Zoran, for Father's Day as well? Yes, for Father's Day as well. All right, so then Friday night specials, they're going to continue. Hopefully you're enjoying them.
Yeah.
I know Jessica is. She's very passionate about that and trying to make those evenings a really special night. Not that every other night should be any different, but she has a passion for delivering these specials to you. And then starting in June, we're going to go into a weekly Sunday brunch cadence. So every Sunday, we would have a Sunday brunch buffet, not the sit down as we currently know it. So that's a big change for us. How do y'all feel about that? Yeah. Something about buffets y'all love. You love your buffets. So with that in mind, starting in June, we're also going to do a once a month themed nightly buffet. And I believe in June it's going to be Italian. Did I speak correctly, Zoran? Oh, thank goodness.
Say it again, say it again.
It's going to be Italian themed buffet in June. That one night, and the date will be announced, right? So some continued exciting changes around our dining program. And now I want to shift gears a little bit. So last month I talked about some other changes that were going to be taking place, namely what we call a fast casual concept in one of our dining venues, and then also some changes in the Magnolia and the Calabogie rooms. But today I really want to focus on what we are calling the fast casual dining experience. So somewhat of a refresher from last month. Fast casual is really intended to be a faster, more convenient dining option for you or guests in our dining rooms. So ideally it's in and out in 1 hour. Quick service, no reservations needed. So for some folks that works really well. So as an example, say day at the golf course, you get back in, it's like, what am I gonna do for dinner? I want something really quick because I got too much sun. Fast casual might be the option for you that night. You come on in and out fairly quickly, no reservation needed. And you're gonna be able to enjoy a delicious chef-crafted one-plate dinner. So it's just one plate, it's not an appetizer, a dessert, it's a one-plate composed meal. So, like I had mentioned, it's gonna be faster service, but we're not cutting corners on quality. I'm going to give you some examples of the menu in just a minute. We're looking at the club room to roll this out. We're not sure what kind of volume we're going to see. Ideally, we would like to have something like this because it's really intended for bar service in the bar, but we don't have a lot of seats there. So, and I don't see a lot of folks sitting at the bar. So it may eventually go back into the bar if we don't see the volume in the club room, but for now we're going to open it up in the club room. If you choose this dining option, you would use a meal credit, or if you choose not to use a meal credit, you would pay the member lunch pricing. So either way, it's a meal credit or member lunch pricing. And we're looking to roll this out in the 3rd quarter. We're thinking in the July timeframe. We haven't nailed down a date, but we're looking in the 3rd quarter. So it's right around the corner. So prior to the rollout, similar to what we do with other rollouts, we would probably invite dining committee and some other folks, just to try out some of the food and give us some feedback on that, the overall experience, timing related to that. Is it working well? Are there any obstacles, challenges before we roll it out to the greater community? So we have a timeline with lots of different steps. There's staff training that needs to take place. Some additional information for you as we get a little bit closer. So if we go into the club room and we do this 6 nights a week, that means that we have to change things up a little bit because we actually have some groups in the club room. We actually have some special events in the club room. So initial thoughts right now are that we would book those meals in other venues, such as the private dining room. We only have 14 seats there, so that could be a challenge in some cases. Potentially the ballroom, or potentially other spaces around the rotunda trim. So, any Bridge Club members in here? We've got some Bridge Club folks that go into that club room, so that's gonna be somewhat impactful. We'll have to figure that out for you. And Zoran and the team are committed to doing that. Would you like to see some menu examples?
Sure.
Okay, why not? So these are just some examples that Jessica's come up with that you could potentially see in that dining venue. You can see a poke bowl, which is essentially a seared tuna and salad. You can see crab cake sliders.
Now you're talking.
I knew that might hit a bell. I knew that might. You can see some handmade gnocchi. So you can see these are nice entrees. They can be put together rather quickly, but I would eat any one of these. I mean, it sounds great, right? Sure. So these are just some examples. So this is the vision behind the kind of menu that we would do in there. It's really intended to be quick, in and out. I mean, come in, get a nice meal, and then go back home, so I can relax and watch some TV after playing 4 hours of golf. So anyway, so that's coming Q3. And this is going to be a big change for us because we've been talking about this for quite a while, but it's going to be exciting change for you all as well. So now you're going to have the Magnolia, the Calabogie, and you're going to have a fast casual option. So more variety, more choices. If you want something quick, you can go in there and get it quick. If you want a more casual experience, you can go into the Calabogie. If you want a more refined experience, you can go into the Magnolia. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit and go and talk a little bit more about the Calabogie and the Magnolia, because this is even further down the road, but I want to sort of lay the groundwork and foundation for this as we move forward. Can I just ask, can we just hold?
Hours for the fast casual?
So 4:30 to 6 is what we're looking at right now.
For what?
For the fast casual. Yeah, 4:30 to 6. So once we get opening date, and we'll get all that communicated out to you, but it's 4:30 to 6. Let's talk briefly about the Calabogie. So once we get through the fast casual implementation, we're looking to change up the dining experience in the Calabogie and then the Magnolia as well. So, and a lot of that revolves around the menu and some of the changes regarding the menu. So in the Calabogie dining experience, we're going to be offering a weekly a la carte menu with fresh options. Today, you're getting daily changes. It's going to be a weekly menu. You'll see more options on the menu. It's going to change out weekly versus daily. So that's going to be somewhat of a change. There's going to be lots of variety and choice with something new each week. Flexible, casual dining that feels personalized. So that's the direction we're going to be heading in with the Calabogie. Probably the biggest change here is just the change in how we approach the menus, daily versus weekly. Daily, you have limited selections. You're going to have more selections on the weekly menu, and we're going to be partnering that eventually with the the Magnolia menu, and then also the fast casual. So ultimately, you're going to have many more opportunities to choose what you want. So it's not necessarily a takeaway. It's actually more variety and more choices, and a little bit of differentiation in each one of the menus, depending on how you feel that night and what kind of dining experience that you want. Shift a little bit into the Magnolia. In this area, we are looking at chef-crafted, what we call composed dishes. So in some restaurants that you go to now, you might see on the menu, and I love this example here, it might be a salmon teriyaki. Okay, and that comes with jasmine rice, lemon jasmine rice, and bok choy. So it's a composed plate the flavors are really meant to pull together to create a great experience for that entree. Thoughtful presentation, seasonal flavors, more refined feel. It's a more curated dining experience, perfect for a special night or a change of pace. So, and hang tight with your questions just for a minute, if you would. So, very similar to what we're doing now. The big difference here is the composed plates. Thoughtful, put together plates. And it could be something that's, I mean, these are nice. It could be like a grilled filet mignon with truffled potatoes and just a really nice vegetable that complements that and sauce. It could be, you know, a nice chicken dish where the starch and the vegetables sort of pour it all together. So these are what we're talking about when we're talking, this is what I'm referring to when I talk about composed plates. So I'm gonna pause there because it seems to be a couple questions around dining and thoughts and folks.
Will the menus in the Magnolia and the Calabogie be available more than a week in advance so we can make a proper reservation for which dining room we want to eat in? Right now, you're getting them 2 days before the week starts.
Well, that's a good question, and I think we take that back to Jessica and Zoran, and I don't want to commit anything for them, but I think that's something that we can probably do, yeah. Matter of fact, it might be easier to do something like that.
Open to go 2 weeks out.
Open to go 2 weeks out. Yeah. That's a good thought.
Will the everyday menu still be available,
In the Calabogie.
but not in the Magnolia?
In both?
Yeah, both menus will have some version of always available.
So if you didn't hear that, Zoran said both menus will have a version of the always available. You got one up front and one in the back.
Will the meal credits be the same for each option?
Yes.
Would it be possible in the fast dining room always to have like a hamburger and french fries? So that if somebody didn't eat crab or salmon or whatever, if there was something you could just say, I'm going to get a hamburger.
I think they were looking at that option, to have some type of burger.
Yeah, definitely. The whole idea is just to continue to provide variety in terms of options on the menu, where we can offer a variety of different types of protein and accompaniments with those proteins. So fast casual for sure will always have some kind of a featured sandwich that can definitely be a type of a burger, and then fast casual, like I said, casual Calabogie will have its own version of always available. They will definitely have, again, some sort of a sandwich there. And then the whole idea of changing it to weekly menu rather than daily is to actually offer even more variety and more options for everyone to choose from. So yeah.
Melissa got one.
Yes, one question regarding the Magnolia dining. Will there be still choices for the entrees? Like we now have a choice of 3.
So in terms of the number on the menu, yes. It'll be, actually, I think it's gonna be more choices that will be available other than the 3, because it's gonna rotate out weekly versus daily. And I had a question over here, Phyllis.
Composed dishes.
What will be available for people who want to take their food home to eat?
So the to-goes, so it would
Come up and and put it on sale?
Yeah, it's gonna be items that are probably pulled off those menus. I don't know exactly. We'll have to get that information to you and once we get a little bit closer. So I don't know if there's gonna specifically be a to-go menu, but it would be some of the selections that you have in those menus. So as we get a little closer, we can share that with you.
Michael, fast casual. And how many, at least must be dense this morning here, but how many items are on the menu for fast casual each night?
About 6.
Okay, so it's not just one composed plate?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so that sample menu that I showed you, which was 3, it'd be that times 2, so about 6 that would rotate. Is that a weekly basis? On a weekly basis. Yeah.
I think this is an easy question. The 7-day, the weekly menus will include several entrees. My understanding is that all of them will be available each day of that week. Is that correct?
With the newer, yes.
It's not that you have a Monday special, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and
Right.
Thursday. There's several items available every day, all week.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And I had Phyllis, we had a question. You good? Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know if this is going through anyone's mind, and I tried to share the whys on some of the slides, but as we get feedback from you all, a resident satisfaction survey, and we have new members coming in, and we have 9 other communities out there that get feedback from members, and then there's a greater group of individuals, the baby boomers, so to speak, that tidal wave of baby boomers that are coming into the market. We're here, the company and our community is hearing a lot about variety, choice, faster paced. I don't always want to sit down for an hour and a half or 2 hours, dining experience. And what you see out in the market outside of retirement communities is just that. So folks are wanting, experiences within their retirement communities that reflect something very similar that we're going to start offering you. So for you all, it could be, hey, I'm happy just where I am in the Calabogie, and that's that's my go-to place. It's going to be very similar to what you've seen in the past, except the menu is going to be a weekly menu versus a daily menu with more choices. But say the grandkids come in and they're saying, we don't want to sit in there for 2 hours. Can we just get a quick burger or something? Yeah, we can do that as well. So, you're going to have options, and I think you have options now. You're going to actually have more options and more choices as we head down this road. So, we've actually had some questions around the kitchen as well. It's like, do you have enough room in the kitchen to be able to do this? We don't have a big kitchen, but Jessica, we made some changes in the kitchen and realignment. I've been talking about that. I talked about that earlier in the year. We've made some equipment purchases to be able to navigate through this that are going to help the culinary team execute on a more consistent basis. So we're making changes behind the scenes to be able to support what's happening in the front of the house. So Jessica feels very confident that she's going to be able to execute on this. Zoran feels really confident about it as well. There's definitely some training that's going to need to take place with the teams. But I think once we navigate through this over the next 3 to 4 months, and we come out the other side, I think you'll be very pleased with your new updated dining experience. I really do. So, with that, I want to shift gears again. Is Deanie here? Hey, Deanie. Deanie, can you come on up? So I got some really exciting news. You may have walked by the small table out here by the lobby and seen a trophy there. It's like, what is that all about? Well, Deanie actually has the trophy with her. She's actually showing the trophy. Come on up front. So we want everybody to be able to see if you can actually put it right here. So before Deanie goes into her presentation about the inventory and sales, I did want to share. So Deanie's and the sales team, Deanie, Cheryl, and Phyllis, actually won an award at their annual sales meeting and Tide Point and Dee's team won Sales Team of the Year. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. No surprise for me. I mean, I work with Deanie and Cheryl and Phyllis every day. I mean, you talk about a highly productive group. So this is some of the feedback that the corporate team gave them. We could not be more pleased that Tide Point, that Team Tide Point was awarded Sales Team of the Year. This amazing team achieved the highest award we have. Even with the changing markets and growing competition, this team ignores the noise and sells homes and kicks butt. Yeah. So this amazing team exceeded move-in goals +7, exceeded net sales goals +8, and exceeded appointment goals +66. So they're exceeding everything, and congratulations, Deanie, Cheryl, and Phyllis. So awesome work. And as anybody that's ever worked in business knows, it's really, the sales team, the boots on the ground there, but there is a greater sales team and everybody's in sales. So we share that with our employees, we share that with our leadership, everybody's in sales. Because we always want this to be, first and foremost, your best home, but also folks that are looking to move in their best home as well. So here's a little picture of them.
All right.
The happy campers. So with that, I'm going to ask Dean, you want to come on up and just share some of the updates there?
Sure. And as you guys know, you are all in sales as well. So you all make it happen, and our staff behind the scenes make it happen. So it's a whole team effort. It's not just the sales team. So we were just there representing everyone. I want to talk about active listings right now. We do have one Cape Charles villa available. We have 5 Cape Hatterases. The Cape Hatterases come and they go. They come and they go. So we just added another one yesterday, a new listing. 1 Assateague Island Cottage, and then 1 St. Augustine Veranda. So that's what we currently have on the market. We're still trying to get our wait list in for that Assateague and the St. Augustine. Still working on that. We've had 7 closings through April. We have 2 scheduled for this month of May, and then we have 5 upcoming closings for the month of June, which is pretty good for the month of June. So maybe close to a record as well. Any questions for me? Okay, that's a good sign. My sign to leave. Thank you.
Sort of, it's funny because in January, Deanie's like, oh, it's so slow, and nothing really in the housing market, January and February are typically very slow, and then all of a sudden, boom, it all just sort of hits, and it's like they have a hard time catching up. So I would imagine that once again, that we're going to finish the year hitting our budget, maybe exceeding the budget of home sales, and there's still a lot of demand for folks that want to live here. We've seen a lot of strong demand. Lots of times when you have 4 or 5 Hatterases, and you have those, maybe it's hard when you get too much inventory of one on the market. But sometimes it's hit or miss with those, it just sort of slows up and then all of a sudden 2 or 3 go. So anyway, I'm proud of the sales team. Nice job, Dean, Cheryl, Phyllis, nice job. So, all right, so as we wrap this up and see if there's any additional questions, June 12th, the second Thursday of the month, is the Mingle with Mike. Hope to see you here, and then on June 26th, the 4th Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock in the ballroom is going to be the town hall. So, and I got some questions. Let's wait till Phyllis gets around with the microphone.
Michael, you know I'm going to ask this. Can you give us an update on window cleaning and pricing and what's going on with window cleaning?
Absolutely. I thought I might hear that one today. So here's my thought and an update. What we've been talking about is getting pricing together through our maintenance team for members that live in cottages and the verandas. But then last week I got some questions about the villas. And that's sort of, if somebody, a member was saying, well, nobody's talking about the villas and window cleaning. So I did a little research on that. And it's a little bit harder with the villas because to do the villa windows, we actually have to rent a lift.
Oh, yeah.
The company has to rent a lift. So it's just not easy to execute. There's a lot of costs, and you can't just rent a lift to do one window. So that really got my wheels spinning, and I have some thoughts around maybe I'm going to talk with the board today. I'm sorry, not today, the finance committee, and then the board next week. If we continue on this trajectory with a positive finances, there's a chance that we might be able to just do the community window washing after hurricane season, which would be like in October. So I can't make any promises right now. We still got summers are usually tough for us, but we might be able to do that. So my suggestion and recommendation is, if you really need to get your windows clean, we'll get some pricing out. If you live in the verandas and the cottages, we'll get the pricing out to you. If you want to make that decision to do it, we can get that lined up through our maintenance department. Unfortunately, the villas we're not going to be able to do until we do the larger community. So, because they, once again, they have to rent a lift, and they can't do it for just one. Maybe it's executable for somebody on the first floor, but if they do the second or third, then they got to do the second. If they do somebody on the third, then they got to do the second and the first. So it just sort of runs down. So maybe the villas might be one-offs, and if you're on the first floor, we might be able to do something. So if you choose to do that in the cottages or verandas at your own cost, that would be fine. But if we do them again at the end of hurricane season, the whole community, we wouldn't reimburse you for that. We would just do them again for you. Does that make sense? Yeah. Does that sound like a fairly good approach given? Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. My question is, when will we be getting, or will we be getting COVID shots? And when is the best time? I know they're recommended now for people over 65.
Yeah, I don't, hold on. Sherry's gonna get the microphone in a minute.
Currently, the CDC recommendations are planning on having a vaccine available for the new season, which is approximately when our flu season and our flu vaccine starts.
Sherry, a little bit louder, up closer. This is closer.
Okay.
There you go.
How's this?
Better, thank you.
Don't like the spotlight. Okay. Right now, the CDC is planning on having an updated COVID vaccine in the fall for anybody 65 and above. We always work with Burke's Pharmacy. It looks like it should be available approximately when our flu vaccine is available. And we will coordinate getting both, if not at the same time, it might be 2 different clinics. So we're looking at September at this time. But it's still in the works.
So as we get a little closer, we get more information, we can share that with you. Got some questions in the back?
To the real estate picture, I see the sales are good, but what are the price trends? Are we still going up, or holding still, or are we falling off? What's that? That's most important to most of us.
We're going to give Deanie the mic again.
Okay, where I don't have an exact percentage right now, a lot of the larger homes that we have are definitely going up in price. And again, I don't have that percentage. I would encourage you just to come to my office and we can talk one-on-one about it. It's not anything that I don't want to share. It's just I don't have that number off the top of my head. The larger properties are, in some situations, we are having bidding situations, which is not anything new to us in the past 3 years. Some of the smaller properties are just kind of hanging right in their, where they are typically supposed to, or not necessarily supposed to, but especially when we have 5 properties of the same type on the market. As Michael said, it's not as much of a demand anymore because we have 5, so the person that's looking isn't really eager to purchase that day, knowing that we have 5 listed. So those prices are gonna probably hold about the same. However, the larger ones will probably continue to increase.
Thank you, Dee Dee.
You're welcome.
Michael, would it be possible to not lock the library anymore? I think that was left over from COVID, when all the public rooms were locked. I know the activity room is locked every night, and that may be because there's very precious art display or quilt display or something like that, but the library is an honor system. I came down at 10 the other night, and I mean, I know that's ridiculous, but I thought, I think I'll turn this book in and get a new one. It was locked. And I asked the concierge, a few of them about it, and they said, yeah, well, it's on the list that it should be locked every night. It's sort of like our living room, and I wondered if it, in fact, would not be anymore.
We can look into that. I'm not sure. I don't have any history as to why it was locked to begin with, but we can look into that, definitely.
Could you give us an update on the construction project that's going along the side of the wall?
The
The
drainage ditch? Drainage ditch. Oh my goodness. So actually, I was chatting again with Councilman Reitz yesterday, and he's got a lot of energy. Landscape Committee might have met him. He says he's not a politician, but I would say otherwise. I really would. But he feels really bad about what has taken place, and he recognizes that there really truly was a lack of communication, not for the Bay Pines folks, but for our folks. And unfortunately, as we've navigated through the situation, the lack of communication has continued. So, or there's been a challenge around communication, or there's been commitments from the county that they haven't really been able to deliver on around some of the replacement fence or temporary fencing. So this is what I know. The black fence that you see out there now is really just cloth. It's a heavy cloth that they've used zip ties and everything to put something up to give us some type of privacy until they can get a more solid temporary fence up next week. When they came out, they said there's really a lot of lines coming through here, fiber lines, electric, gas, water. We need to identify them before we do any digging. So they've committed to coming out next week to be able to put up a more stable temporary fence in that area. We've already gotten some bids in that large area there for landscaping. Once they're done, we're talking some larger palm trees, maybe mid-sized magnolias, and then some shrubs. There's that would be these costs. There's also some shrubs that they've damaged as well, so Beaufort County will be replacing some of the shrubs as well, just to try to get that view back. But we're also looking, as we replace the fence in that area, not just the basic chain link fence with the privacy screening on it, we're looking for maybe a little bit higher, maybe there's a vinyl option that looks well in that area that we can put in there just in that one section. So I think that would look really nice. But if you took and walked north along the fence line, and I drove Jeannie's sales cart up there the other day, I mean, a lot of the fence is sort of destroyed sort of along that whole path. So it looks like we're probably gonna get a new fence from the area, the landing zone, all the way north up until the Broad Creek area. So don't have the timing around that. My best guess is that if we get everything done by October, that's great. But Beaufort County's not the easiest to work with, and when you're talking money and reimbursement, and it just makes it more difficult. So also Mr. Reitz is going to be holding a community forum, might be over in the Bay Pines area, but he's committed to me yesterday that when he holds that I would get an invitation, which I would share with you. And if you would like to attend that, then you're more than happy to attend it. So, and he says, you know, he would welcome, you know, the Thai foot members if they want to join. So, if you've seen the equipment out there, I mean, it's huge equipment. I mean, it's really like logging equipment. You know, and I don't know how they're navigating through that shelf. They call it a drainage shelf and ditch, but they are. Some of the timber that they're taking out of there is just huge. It's huge. So, as we get more information, I think we're going to get something in this the board chair's newsletter that sort of just, I guess, ties into what I'm telling you today. But you'll see some additional information in the board chair's newsletter. Yes, sir.
Do they have any information? Oh, was there any information about the nature of the leak that occurred? Is it something that's a one-off or what?
The water leak?
In the
The
dining.
water leak that, I think,
The other day where we...
yeah, we were away, so
Yeah.
we just heard about it.
I don't have any additional information other than they were able to isolate it, that, you know, the pressure was back, and I've heard nothing else about repairs. So if we get any information, we'll let you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, maybe one more question, if there's one more, and then we'll just wrap it up. Okay. I got one in the back, and then that'll be the last one.
No, I'm sorry. I want.
Just wanted to mention, dress code for the fast casual.
So the dress code, so you'll get more information on that once we roll that program out.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best approach. But it's certainly not going to be jacket. No jacket required. It's really meant easy access in and out. So it's going to be a casual dress code, but we'll have more information when we get that information out to you. Okay, thank you so much.